The Croatian Parliament's Committee on the Constitution today voted on a social democratic initiative to amend the Constitution, whereby the statute of limitations for politically motivated assassinations would be abolished. The vote was a 5-5 tie, which essentially tabled the matter pending further deliberation. Opposition MPs objected to the fact that the committee voted on the proposal before even having a chance to debate it. Opposition MP Dragutin Lesar in particular noted that this was a hasty effort to engage in damage control with the European Union, as certain EU officials criticized a recently enacted Croatian law that prevented extradition of Croatian citizens to other EU member states for crimes committed prior to 2002. Committee Chairman Peja Grbin expressed dismay that the representatives of other political parties did not even support a discussion of the initiative. A loan contract worth 250 million euros was signed in Split today between the Croatian Bank for Reconstruction and Development, or HBOR, and the European Investment Bank. This is the second tranche of a loan deal negotiated with the EIB for €500 million, the largest the EIB has ever signed with the Croatian institution. According to HBOR Chief Executive Anton Kovacev, his bank will direct the funds towards financing small to medium-sized enterprises and small to mid-sized public sector infrastructure projects and investments in energy, environmental protection, health, and education. Islamist supporters of Egypt's ousted President Mohamed Morsi protested in Cairo on Friday after a week of violence in which more than 90 people were killed in a bitterly divided nation. More than a week after the army toppled Egypt's first elected leader after a wave of demonstrations against him, Morsi's Muslim Brotherhood is trying to mobilize popular support for his reinstatement. At a Cairo mosque where Morsi supporters have held vigil for more than 2 weeks, crowds swelled as people came in from the provinces. Trade talks between the United States and the European Union this week laid the groundwork for more substantive discussions in October, when negotiators meet in Brussels for a second round of talks, U.S. and EU trade officials said in a press conference in Washington on Friday. When asked about the issue of alleged U.S. surveillance of European diplomats, which emerged prior to the talks, the top U.S. negotiator only said that this matter is being handled by different channels. American intelligence leaker Edward Snowden met with human rights activists and lawyers Friday in a transit zone of the Moscow airport in his first public appearance since he left Hong Kong last month. Snowden was photographed with several human rights activists whom he asked to lobby the Russian government to grant him temporary asylum, according to a Russian Human Rights Watch representative. Otherwise, a spokesman for Russian President Vladimir Putin said he is unaware of a formal asylum request from Snowden, but added that if he wants asylum in Russia, he must not harm either U.S. interests or Russian-American relations. In her first speech since the Taliban in Pakistan tried to kill her for advocating education for girls, Malala Yousafzai celebrated her 16th birthday at the United Nations on Friday, which declared July 12th Malala Day in her honor. Yousafzai, speaking before high UN officials and nearly 1,000 students from around the world attending a youth assembly at UN headquarters, appealed for free education for all children and stressed that education is the only way to improve lives. She also said she is raising her voice for all of those who cannot be heard.
Malala Day is not my day. Today is the day of every woman, every boy, and every girl who have raised their voice for their rights.
Yousafzai presented the UN Secretary General with a petition signed by nearly 4 million people in support of 57 million children who are not able to go to school and demanding that world leaders fund all aspects of education and end child labor, marriage, and trafficking. In sports, just a reminder that Croatia's Ivo Karlovic faces American John Isner in the quarterfinals of the ATP Hall of Fame Tennis Championship in Newport, Rhode Island in the United States. The match starts later this evening. And finally, the weather forecast for Croatia tomorrow. Skies will be occasionally moderately overcast inland and on the Adriatic coast, and more so in the western mountain zones in the Istrian and Dalmatian interiors, accompanied by the possibility of brief localized precipitation. Northeasterly winds will intermittently hit the northern part of the Adriatic coast overnight and in the morning, while a northwesterly wind will hit Dalmatia in the afternoon. Tomorrow morning's temperatures will range from 11 to 16 degrees Celsius inland and from 18 to 23 degrees on the coast. Tomorrow's highs will generally range from 23 to 28 degrees Celsius inland and from 28 to 33 degrees on the coast.